Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Joining me today for the first time is Rahul Dewan. You may have seen his channel, Sangam Talks. He's a very well respected speaker and he's an entrepreneur in a previous life. And now he has made something else his life mission. We're going to talk about that in the form of a few Q&As. And this is going to be a fairly informal session. But let's first welcome Rahulji. Rahulji, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Namaste. Thank you very much. Heard so much about you, seen some of your work, and so first time. Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure is all mine, Rahul. And see, I had recently done one, short monologue about how the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishta of Ram Lala is going to pave way for many of us to rediscover our roots. When you go back and look at India, since 700 AD, some part or the other was under attack. And this has actually changed the demographic structure somewhat. But it also leaves the door open for everyone who wants to come back to their roots, to rediscover it and come back. And you are seeing this change not just here, but all the way out to like your United Arab Emirates, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and where Islam has really taken root. And those people are reviewing it and saying, there are some things that need to change here. So that change needs to propagate. It may not happen overnight, but you have a mission. Let's start with your mission statement, and then I'll start having a few questions for you. You can take it from there. Over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you. So, by the way, I'm still in my entrepreneurial journey. I've sold one business earlier. I'm a little bit of an investor now. Just a little background. So it's a new chapter, but that chapter is not over of entrepreneurship. So just wanted to set that. But I've been running Sangam Talks for 8 years and my nonprofit charitable trust for since 2006. So it's been quite a lot of time. So all of this has sort of gone alongside. Now Sangam Talks and Saryu Trust and all my social projects become the center point of the next chapter. With that context, I have two big agendas going forward. One is to ensure, one is a Ghar Wapsi program, and I'll just talk about that a little bit in detail. The second is actually I'm working on creating a 1,000 crore Hindu fund. It's an extremely audacious goal I've set. I've set myself 3 years from Navratri that has already gone by. And maybe we can delve on that a little bit. I know, and I'll keep the focus of this on the Ghar Wapsi project that I have. So in 2016, I read an article in Swarajya by Sanjeev Sanyal, which gave me this clarity. It was about, the article, if I remember correctly, was called The Architecture of Hinduism. And there Sanjeev talks about not Ghar Wapsi as such, but he talks about expansionary strategies that Hindus need to adopt. He talks about that Hindus, anti-conversion laws that we've all been after in Karnataka, in Telangana, everywhere, right? I mean, UP has some anti-conversion laws version of its own. Sanjeev believes in something called the chaos theory or complex adaptive systems. Complex adaptive systems. And what that really means is that just like stock markets and just like cities, Hinduism is very similar. It keeps on evolving with new data, with new information that it absorbs. And what that means is that it's firstly very adaptive. And so for a system like this, he says, are the only systems which survive. He draws parallels between dinosaurs dying and perhaps some Abrahamic religions without actually specifically calling them out, if you like. And he takes the view that Hinduism is going to last, which we all believe it will. However, he calls out that in a system which is deflating, and honestly we have been deflating for quite some time, right? Losing both land and losing to demographic rise of non-Indic religions, if you like, within India as well. In a deflating system, he says that defensive strategies are never going to work. You have to have expansionist strategies in place. And that sort of was a really jarring moment for me. It sort of gave me clarity for, whenever my next half of my life would happen. This is 2016, so I was still in the midst of my business, but I basically really got that clarity, and over the last few years have built upon this. And I recently did a talk on Sangam Talks. I've now, after selling my business, I can now start coming out with my face. I've stayed in the background all these years, and hence I did the first talk on Ghar Wapsi. I did this at Goa at the Hindu Janjagriti Samiti annual conference. So spoke to about 800-900 Hindus who were collected in the auditorium. Got a huge response from people. So I'm going to pause and maybe take if you want me to
Yeah,
talk something.
that's an excellent introduction thus far, Rahul. So, see, we are Sanatanis, we are seekers. And if you look at the Abrahamic religions, they are believers. There's a book, and you cannot paint outside the boundaries. You cannot paint outside the lines. You have to stay within that. Doesn't matter if there are doubts that arise in your mind about what is said in that book, whether it is applicable to modern day. None of that stuff is allowed, right? So I'm sure there are a lot of people there who are having these questions, but they are afraid to ask. And whereas Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, whichever way you want to look at it, it's always been that you should question. Even a Nastik, na Astik, the one who doesn't believe in the existence of God, even he was encouraged to ask these questions. And many Nastiks became Astikas because they did the research and they said my presumptions were wrong. So this is, to me, like you said, that let's go on the offensive. You know that you have a friend who is probably a Christian or a Muslim today in India, and see, at least in Islam, it is prohibited to convert out of the religion. You'll be killed. So you are up against some serious odds. So and when we say that let's do Ghar Wapsi, to me it seems like one way to do this, and again I'm just saying one way, is that if one person converts, right, then you can try to bully him and try to even God forbid kill the person. But if an entire community, let's say there are 1,000 households in a small mohalla, if everybody converts, then that critical mass will prevent any such thing from happening. This was just my thought. So I want you to kind of flesh out your idea of Ghar Wapsi a little bit more. You want to convert 10, you want to bring back, I should say, 10 crore back into the Sanatani fold, and you have set yourself a time limit. Where would you start?
Now, so firstly, I am not on a mission to convert 10 crore people. That's not a mission I have taken for myself. What the mission I'm on is to open Hindus' minds of Hindu organizations across the country in opening their arms to returning Muslims. My feeling is, and this is not just gut and all of this happens all around us. We refuse to see them. We refuse to see data. We refuse to see facts. People want to come back. I was shared a video recently. I have a few slides here, just 2 or 3 slides.
Sure,
I don't know
sure,
how
sure.
to
Go
show
ahead, go
them.
ahead. Yeah,
How,
absolutely.
how do I share? Let me see
So just
slides.
go to present. Just go to present.
Yeah.
Are the slides in
But
PPT or PDF?
yes, they are. But I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
Entire screen. I'm sorry for holding you up and your audience. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yeah, it's coming up now. Just 1 second. I need to open it and I need to add it. Go ahead.
Do you see this?
Yeah, very good.
Okay. So this is a video sent to me by a friend in the US when he heard my talk. This is very interesting. I'm not going to play the whole video. but for your audience, they may want to, look at take a screenshot and then go
mm,
back and look at this. This is one family, one
mm,
large family of many brothers. Half of the family is Muslim and half is Hindu. They live 7 kilometers away from the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. And this journalist, I have huge respect for her. She travels from Dioband to all these places fearlessly. Fantastic woman. This is a channel called Raj Dharma, and I found this video there. These guys actually have a Bahi Khata. If you see this on the table, they have a Bahi Khata which actually
mm,
traces their generations back to about 8, 9 generations back. And they realize that 7 generations earlier, they split. Some brothers became Muslims, and then the lineage of Muslims started. If you see this video, it's a long video. They actually are saying Ram to hamare Bhagwan hai. They've all gone together for seeing the construction of the Ram Mandir. This man who's on video started crying when the journalist was asking him, "What do you feel about Ram?" On video, he started crying कि राम तो मेरे देव हैं, you know. And she's asking him questions, and आप मुसलमान क्यों नहीं है, क्यों है, घर वापसी क्यों नहीं करते? The issue, he says, is that the community, not the brothers, not the family, but the community, and earlier it was attempted 1 or 2 generations back, but was prevented by the community and by the village community. This is what I'm trying to say. This attitude of not taking Muslims back has to change. In my presentation, I actually speak about this very famous video of this Maulvi called Bilal Phillips. Do you see this as well as the slide
yeah, yeah,
refresh?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Muslims are leaving Islam. I've presented a lot of data and reports, like the Khalil Bilici report, which came out a few years ago, and it talks about reasons of why are Muslims leaving Islam globally. In North America, Canada, and US, it's estimated that about 24% Muslims have left Islam. Okay, and what are we doing with them? What are they doing? Some of them become atheists and start to hate everything that is religion, including Hinduism. Like there is apostate prophet and Haris Sultan and others, which is okay. I don't have too many problems with them as long as they've left Islam. There are others. A large part of them actually become Christian, and there is tons and tons of videos from the US of how to get Muslims who are leaving Islam, why they are returning to Christianity. And there is this massive propaganda done by Christians on talking about these cases and case studies, and talking about on social media to attract more and more coming back to become Christians, coming to become Christians, not back. And while we Hindus are doing nothing about it. And this is the same trend in India. I don't know if you're following the ex-Muslims in India, but people like ex-Muslim Sahil and a few others, they're doing a
He was on our
brilliant,
channel. Sahil was
great,
on our
right?
channel. Yeah,
Wonderful,
yeah.
right? So, great job. Just Sahil alone, but it's not Sahil alone anymore, right? There is Samir, there is Apostate Imam, there is Dara Shikho, there is Quranwala or Sachwala earlier. Tons and tons of them who are coming up, and every day people, these guys they're watching videos. People are watching videos. Gatherings of Muslims. I came across a recent video, I don't have it here, of a big Naqshbandi preacher, and in a large gathering of several hundred people, this kid gets up and says, "Aap ex-Muslims ke bare mein kya sochte hain?" Then the guy says, "Excuse me, what is your question?" Whatever. So he explains कि मतलब हम सबको वो राह से हटा रहे हैं, तो हम क्या जवाब दें? Basically, what's happening is this is becoming mainstream in India, and this is reaching thanks to social media, thanks to YouTube, and it's sort of not constrained view of this. For example, mass reporting and all of that, thankfully, is not helping on all of these. This is becoming, it's reaching people in Kashmir. I know because people have contacted me. There are people from Bihar, Jharkhand, Mumbai, Madhya Pradesh, all over the place who are leaving Islam. And we people are not willing to take them in. Uh, I will stop presenting here and we'll come back to another slide I want to show you in a little bit. But I want to talk about one incident that happened with me about 5 6 years back or something. I had the opportunity of meeting in Delhi Puri Shankaracharya ji, Nishchilananda ji. He was visiting the Jagannath Puri temple or Jagannath temple in South Delhi, which is where I live. And one of my friends invited me that if you'd like to come, it'll be a great opportunity. So I was, of course, very humbled. So sat through the his lecture, his discourse, satsang, and then just participated in some bhajan and all of that. And then she said that there are questions for some people, so I was allowed some audience. I had prepared a letter that time. The thought in my head was, and like I said, it's been there since 2016, that we need to have expansionist strategy. So I had a letter uh, written in Hindi and an English version both, and I presented that to him, and he asked me what is contained in this. So I told him ki uh, स्वामी जी दैट बेसिकली हिंदुइज्म में वापस लोगों को लाने के लिए अगर आपके पद से आप सब बोलेंगे तब ये पॉसिबल होगा, नहीं तो हम बहुत कंस्ट्रेंट है और हमने सिर्फ आर्य समाज के लिए छोड़ दिया है. Sherji, I got a massive, phatkar from him. He was very angry, very, very angry at me for saying that, for even suggesting that. He actually said, I remember that तुम जैसे लोग हिंदू धर्म को और तोड़ेंगे और खराब कर देंगे and stuff like that. And I was honestly shaken up. I had no clue why. Okay. So I was a little lost, came back, started asking a lot of my friends who are very dharmic and read the Dharma Shastras. And some of them agreed that, we need to. The point was, he was saying that you will weaken Hinduism further. Okay. Um, Now, I got the same view from quite a few other people. At the same time, I didn't have the strength or the courage, 6 years back or whatever, whenever that was, to really question him, which I do now, without getting into Guru Ninda, and aspects like that. But we have no answer. And the reason I say is we have no other answer, no other solution, is because I firmly believe that we are heading towards a civil war in the country. Okay. It's already going on with all these random events, like Omendra says, use a specific term for it, random, lone wolf events, which we've been seeing.
Rules. Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
rules, well, something like some term he uses. Now, and that's true. So it's not that we are only heading, it is a low scale civil war already. And not only Hindus, but Muslims are also talking about it. Deobandis, everywhere, Ram Mandir is only exasperating this view that you're now oppressing us even more. This is a mainstream view. Just today morning, I saw another Maulvi who actually was very sarcastically talking about the ASI report, which came out 2 days back, which says that there is a lot of evidence we found. And he was being asked that अब एविडेंस मिल रहा है, आपकी क्या टिप्पणी है. He says मेरी टिप्पणी एविडेंस पे नहीं है, मेरी टिप्पणी अपनी समाज के लोगों पर है जो ये बोल रहे हैं कि हम ये नहीं मानते ASI की रिपोर्ट. तो he is basically saying अब इनका अगला कदम ये होगा कि they will say that जुडिशरी को भी नहीं मानते, फिर हम इस राष्ट्र को भी नहीं मानते, फिर कहेंगे कि अब हमारे को अलग एक हिस्सा अलग दे दो, हम अपनी जुडिशरी कहाँ चलाएंगे. So जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, right, that we are heading towards a civil war, and my view is another partition if we don't change things, is actually mainstream. That Maulvi just 2 days back, right, this report is from 2 days ago, and he was talking about it today morning, that these people will come and say अब हमारे को एक और टुकड़ा कर दो, and he called these guys टुकड़े टुकड़े gang. So he was being sarcastic. So nice guy. But this, I know that the Sangh organization, very closely associated with the Sangh, RSS and others, get very angry. I've brought this up I remember in Pune, I was part of a group 3 years back, and I brought this up that we are heading towards a civil war. And I believe in other partition. There is no other. It's not that randomly people will be allowed to be massacred and will go on and on like Abraham Lincoln allowed. I mean, there's what is the conclusion of such things? What is the direction we are heading in? And that there is an absolute need for Hindu organizations to give a direction to the Hindu Samaj. And when I suggested that we are heading towards a civil war and perhaps a partition, everybody in the room was really, really angry with me. Nahi hone denge. There were tables being thumped, table thumping. Sorry, yes, please go ahead.
Rahul, I want you to continue. I'm just going to drop out from here. I need to research on one data point because I have an observation for that. I need to get the data point right. So just continue. I'll be out of the window. Everything is going on fine. And I'll rejoin you in just 30 to 40 seconds. Go ahead.
All right. So your audience are still there. So I'm talking to the audience. Okay, good. So, yeah. So, I was basically saying my view is that unless we change something about and change the course of our trajectory, we are in trouble. And while yes, Ram Mandir is a massive landmark moment in our civilizational history and in the history of the modern India, which is nothing but a new version of an ancient civilization. um, I think it is time for us to do something and embrace returning Muslims, especially those who want to come back. You're back now. It's going to be a little
Yes,
easier.
yes,
Otherwise,
I
it's
have the
hard
data
talking
now.
to
So
oneself. Okay, you
I'll
want
let
to
you
go ahead?
finish your thought and then I'll add. I want you to finish your thought, then I'll add what I wanted to
Okay.
say. Go ahead.
Okay. So, see, if you see anecdotally, just Bageshwar Dham Baba, um, every day there are Muslims, not only from India, but even from Bangladesh and other places. They actually come and tell him that we are Ram Bhakts and we are your Bhakts and we want to convert. Look at Sri Sri events. Burqa clad women turn up. Baba Ramdev, he has a large following of Muslims. These are people who are Muslims in name only. They have no belief in the violence that the Quran propagates, for example. They have no belief in kaffirhood, right? They are good Muslims. And so and like Anand Ranganathan, actually they are probably bad Muslims in Anand Ranganathan's terminology, because they are humanists. They like human values. They have a sense of morals and ethics, and they see their Hindu people, their friends, their neighbors, their brothers, sisters, whatever, people outside, and they see very good behavior. They don't see oppression and all of this in daily lives, right? And I spoke to 4 ex-Muslims in my office recently and did an interview. It's on Sangam Talks. They were on record saying that we actually feel more secure when we are surrounded in Hindu neighborhoods. It's just common. A BJP MP from Rajasthan over a dinner conversation whispered that to me some years back, that unless I'm surrounded by Hindus in my residential block, I don't feel safe. These people are bad Muslims in Anand's terminology. And there are, in my view, there are crores of them out there. Sitaram Goyalji, in solutions for solving the Islamic problem in India, had a couple of solutions. The most important and the first was that we need to appeal to the humanism of Indian Muslims. उनकी मानवता को हमें अपील करनी पड़ेगी. And this, how do you do that? You basically tell them about the violence in the Quran and the values it projects, and so on and so forth, which is the job of ex-Muslims. Yes, people like Neera Jatri are doing a wonderful job, but people, when they do this from inside, when insiders do it, it's a totally different level, which is the job ex-Muslims do, which is why we need to blindly support ex-Muslims and their whole movement. And when these people want to return, when they learn about Islam, they basically do not want to live there anymore. And we people do not open our arms because of orthodoxy, because of कौन सी जाति में जाएंगे, शादी किससे करेंगे, गजट के लिए बहुत पैसा लगता है, it costs up to 12,000 rupees to formally convert and so on and so forth. Who's going to do all that? Lawyers कहाँ आएंगे? All of this ecosystem is missing. Only Arya Samaj does this, and we unfortunately have outsourced all of this to Arya Samaj only. That needs to change. We need to have 10,000 Arya Samajas within India. And so my mission is actually to have a board on every temple. हम घर वापसी करवाते हैं, अंदर अध्यक्ष से संपर्क करें, नंबर नीचे दिया हुआ है. When that starts happening in every city, tier 2, 3, 1, 4, whatever, then I would feel that's what I'm working towards. Okay, so long monologue. Your data and any questions?
Thank you so much. So you talked about how one Shankaracharya exploded when you asked him a question. I have a bit of a perspective on this. In 1981, in a small village in rural Tamil Nadu called
Meenakshipuram,
300 Dalits. I'm also telling it for our viewers' benefit because this happened 43 years ago, 42 or 43 years ago. In Meenakshipuram, 300 Dalits converted to Islam in one single day. That time, this was unheard of, that something like this could happen. And many people started talking, oh my God, what is going on? Then, see, the thing is, the caste divisions were still there. 1981, that's the Hinduism also has some fault lines that probably got exploited in trying to do this. But one Shankaracharya, the Kanchi Shankaracharya, Jayendra Saraswati, he decided to do something about it. I think it was maybe 10 years later, or I don't remember when, but he went back to that same village, Meenakshipuram. And at that point of time, Shankaracharyas were not known to mingle with the Dalits. And he actually tried. He went there, he ate at their place. This was unheard of, Rahulji. I mean, this doesn't happen. And then he also participated actively in trying to bring about a negotiated settlement between Muslims and Hindus in Ram Mandir. And he came very close. And then again, both sides backed off. Now the litigation route had to be taken. And finally, in 2019, we got the verdict. What ended up happening was, in 2004, after the Sonia Gandhi-led UPA government came to power, on Deepavali Day, the same Jayendra Saraswati and his next in line pontiff, Vijayendra Saraswati, both were imprisoned, jailed in Andhra Pradesh. So this was clearly an edict coming from somewhere, you know where it is, and that if this guy is given the same kind of rope, then he is going to convert. It took several years before he could be released, and he was not the same man after that. So there is a certain amount of browbeating, if you will, by the government machinery to try and not allow Hindus to open their hearts and gates to people who have already converted. This is clearly, as I can see. And I'm actually surprised that BJP doesn't use this example against this 50-year-old juvenile called Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah.
Because he was very much he was an MP there. His mother was the de facto prime minister of the country. And you have to hold them responsible for it. Well, I'm saying all this, Rahul, that the Shankaracharyas got really afraid that, do we have to go through jail? And he was actually beaten up, Rahul. Jayendra Saraswati ji was actually beaten up. Can you imagine if, there is this, imam who is wanted for murder. These people don't even dare touch him. He's got so many cases against him. They don't even touch him. So this kind of uneven treatment also is a problem. Anyway, long story short, I'm just trying to give you an explanation that perhaps the Shankaracharya was mindful of what had happened to one of his, colleagues, and maybe that is one of the reasons. But but you see, that's why I'm saying, you look at Meenakshipuram, 300 families, one shot from one religion to the other. What prevents the Muslim community? Let's say there is a small, usually mohalla is what you see. They tend to be in one group, concentrated group. You build your own temple. One of you can read the scriptures. You don't have to start doing all the rituals in a temple. Just doing aarti and saying Jai Sri Ram is enough to start with. Why are you waiting for some other community to open their arms and say, okay, you come back? Instead, we know that there is a temple in this mohalla. We build this temple. We make this thing our own. This is our this is our deity Murti, and we will pray. ऐसा हो सकता है. I don't know if this has been thought through. Any idea of something like, because Kashmir I see is the fit candidate for this. They are relatively newly converted, 500 years old. Aurangzeb was the one that really aggressively tried to convert the Pandits to Muslims, right? 16th century, 17th century, something like that. So 500 years. Any ideas about looking at these things from a slightly different angle?
Yeah, so I mean, couple of aspects. One, do we need to simplify rituals? 100%. We need to firstly have a formal shuddhi process, or whatever we want to call it, a Ghar Wapsi
Yes,
process, which
yes,
is something very, very simple and not elaborate. Not necessarily do a pura yagya or homam and all of that, but something
right.
really simple. Okay. And then we need to have very simplified, codified rituals. 100%. We need to do that. Which you just do these two or three things, and then that's it. That you don't need to do anything else or not believe in anything else, and you're Hindu. Okay. So no doubt about that. Can current Muslims, whole mohallas, can they turn and suddenly become Hindus? You have to understand that the fear among Muslims is so high, they don't even talk to their families. Children, adolescents, grown up, people in their 20s, 30s who are leaving Islam don't talk to their parents about their views. They ask questions, and when they don't get answers, in their minds they're leaving Islam. They come on these channels of ex-Muslims and say we've left, but we don't talk about it in public. The fear of being thrown out of the community is so high. I'll give you an example. A person called, I think I should be okay naming, maybe most people won't know, Dinesh Chauhan. Chauhan converted during the Aurangzeb period. I met him. He returned, took his name back, Dinesh Chauhan, but it was only a pseudo name because when he was mingling with Hindus, he was cut off from his business. His business was shut down. He was thrown out. Thankfully, his wife was with him, or not. I don't even remember that. But he got possession of his kids, who he renamed. It's very, very hard for these guys. Very hard. That man struggled. And I know struggles of quite a few of them because I'm in touch with a lot of ex Muslims, and I fund a lot of ex Muslims, by the way. And they're in a terrible state. They don't even know who to talk to and who to confide in. Okay, so it's not that they can all come out in the open and everybody will agree. That movement has to be triggered from outside, and that outside has to be our sannyasis, has to be the various levels of our sages and gurus and spiritual organizations. It has to be the inner sheets of the Shankaracharyas, and has to be all the layers, even right up to Baba Bageshwar. Uh, I know in my mind today, if instead of sitting on the fence and saying, just sort of in a coy manner, if you like, not openly, he will say that I'll accept if you want to return. Ana zaruri nahi hai. Then he will say, Ram Ram japiye, Hanuman ka kariye. This is sitting on the fence will probably not serve us in the long term. I hope to meet him someday, and hopefully, in Chota Mu Badi Baat, but make this suggestion to him to come out openly. If he makes an appeal today that I'm going to convert people, my gut tells me 2-3 crore will come. I'm not kidding. The mass following and the power he wields right now is uncanny and insane amount of power he wields in the entire Hindi speaking belt. Uh, And if now Baba Ramdev joins him and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar joins him, Sadhguru joins in, if they all start formalizing this, we will have a tsunami of returning Muslims, which is going to be unstoppable. This 10 crore goal was going to be met like that, honestly. But they have to do this. They have to give it structure. They will all have to say, here is a method, here are simplified rituals which are of my sampradaya. Baba Bageshwar Dham will say, here is a Hanuman mantra you say. Just do this, go to a nearby temple, put some water. Sadhguru may say, nothing needed, just start calling, whatever. But things like these have to happen. This whole thing about ki, no, it's okay for you to keep your name, just start believing in this, all of this is not going to work with us in the long term.
Very true. Rahul, in fact, a template like this has been laid out in the past for us. 91 Parsis landed on the shores of India, Western India, many hundreds of years ago. 85 male and 6 female with children. And the king of that area asked the head of this 91 people group, what can you do for us? And that leader said, can you get me some milk? And somebody gave him a cup of milk. And he goes through his bags, takes out a little bit of what is chini, sugar, puts it in there, mixes it, and then say, here, drink it. So we will sweeten. That was his way of saying, because language wasn't established yet. The new group of people coming into India. And at that point of time, the Rajguru of that king, he laid down like, you shall do these things. And you will be taken care of. Today, the Parsi community is 40 to 50,000 strong. They tend to marry among themselves. That's okay. I mean, but you see them as one of the most accomplished people in India. Very, very, very affluent, upscale society. Very liberal in their approach and ideas. Very entrepreneurial. The template has been laid out because they have to do a few things. Like, for example, in weddings, they have to wear a sari. The lady has to wear a sari. You have to chant some mantras while you are doing a wedding. But beyond that, there are no restrictions. They worship fire, Agni, which used to be one of our gods. In fact, any puja you cannot have without a havan. Agni is Sakshi for us. 5 gods, Agni has to be there. Otherwise, there is no, Homa. Without Homa, you don't know anything. So these kinds of things are already laid down. What you're saying is absolutely right. Somebody who has earned, the respect of the society, whether it is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar or Jaggi Vasudev or Bhageshwarji, all this, they have to, you don't have to come out and say it in public, but you guys can get together and formulate, this is the way we are going to welcome all our brothers and sisters back. And one thing that you mentioned makes a lot of sense, that, we do Ghar Wapsi here, please contact this person here. That's a very, very useful suggestion. And this will spread like wildfire, I tell you. Also, we have to tell them a way that you can stay within your community. You just have to do a few things like this. You don't need to declare that you are no longer a Muslim, because like you said, see, Sanatana, it's not a religion, it's a dharma. Right.
No, Sri I will disagree with a few points. Firstly, you said that not say this in public. All the gurus and say Bhageshwar Baba, they will have to. Actually, whenever I talk about now this Ghar Wapsi movement, a lot of Sangha related organizations actually tell me, oh, we are already doing this work. Then my next question is, then why don't you talk about it in public? No, we can't talk about it in public. That's not going to work anymore. You can't, because otherwise you're just saying, oh, we converted 98 Muslims back here, right, in 6 months. Then 1,000 Christians came back. There are these news reports. That is not good enough. We don't have 1,000 years. Okay, so we have to make this public. All of them have to come out in public and actually have the courage, the audacity, all of that to say that, look, we have to convert. The second thing is, it's not good enough to remain with Muslim names and become what we call Swadeshi Muslims. It's not good enough also. They have to take formal Hindu names. There are a lot of complexities for this, and let me give you just one or two. If you do not formally declare yourself with a Hindu name, you can't go and get cremated. So you will end up going to a Muslim graveyard, and who they will also not accept you because you are ex-Muslim or whatever else. These are real practical problems that they face. And the idea of not having anybody to take care of with proper rituals at the time of death is one of the biggest fears that Muslims have at this point in time. You have to address that. The only way to address that is to do a formal conversion. So it has to be a formal box. You were in this box, now you're going to come in this box. There is no other answer. I want to make another point here. Sarvesh Tiwari lives in Atlanta, if I'm not wrong. He did a few series of lectures with us in Sangam Talks, and he clarified this for me, that Islam within itself has such solid structures that even if you convert out one or the other generation, maybe not this generation, maybe somebody is in thought and in spirit left Islam, but if you remain in that box, a very high likelihood is that the next generation will become a Kattarwadi. The structures of Islam, these wheels keep churning relentlessly. You can't leave it at that. Okay, let's look at the case of the Mongols. I mean, Islam was wiped out from the face of this earth during Genghis Khan's invasions of Baghdad. He basically massacred 90% of all populations, or whatever percentage. And then Timur-Lenk. But the Mongols themselves, the third generation, converted, and we had this upsurge, which actually gave rise to Mughals. Had they not converted, we wouldn't have had the Mughals, because Turks became Muslims. And wasn't the Turks were basically by themselves nothing. It was the war tactics of the Mongols which they adopted and then invaded India, and all the victories they had. This cannot happen. It has to be formal. This box, you're out of this box, you're not Muslim anymore, now you're formally Hindu, with Hindu names, Hindu rituals, all of that. So this is a little different from the Parsis, who are also a very inclusive religion. But Islam and Hinduism, or Islam and any other religion, it's not possible to coexist. I think we have to be absolutely clear in our minds, and our approach and solutions have to be driven from clarity. The more we mix things up, I think we'll not have, this Swadeshi Muslim, Sanatani Muslims idea. It's a hollow drum. It's not going to work.
Well,
I want to probably,
we
you
are
might
having
find me.
no. Listen, Rahul, you're looking at this day in and day out. I'm an outsider trying to think that maybe there is an easy way to do this. The reason I said do it quietly was because whatever they formulate as, that's what I meant, not not announcing it. I'm taking a formulation of how you want to do this to this to this. Because if 4 or 5 religious heads get together and come with a press conference, says we've all agreed and we support, this shall be the steps. But the negotiations itself, right, that will get derailed if you start giving. That's
fair
what
enough.
I meant.
But one just has to come out, and all my hopes are pinned on Dhirendra Shastri ji of Bageshwar Dham. Honestly, I'm going to share, and probably this will be a good way to perhaps close the conversation with this one. One last piece I want to show you.
Yes.
Once again, I'm sharing my slide. Do you see this?
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah.
Okay, so I brought this up with Chandrachud Ghosh, who's written Conundrum on Subhash Chandra Bose. And when I talked to him, we sponsored the DU Lit Fest just 10 days back or so, and I met him there. And he said, Rahul, do you know the one politician or one public figure who talked about Ghar Wapsi as a tool for foreign policy? I said, well, no, ma'am, maybe it was the Swamis, Swami Shraddhanand or Swami Ramanandacharya, Kabir's guru, who did conversions. He said Subhash Chandra Bose, and he sent me this note. In the continent of Africa, only 2 religions are preached at present, Christianity and Islam. Why should Hinduism not be preached there, he says. Sister Nivedita maintained that Hinduism must be aggressive. Swami Vivekananda was of the same opinion, and with this idea, he went to Chicago, and he writes. Can you believe this? This is Netaji writing, that formal conversion and Hinduism must become aggressive. Please do note that, the Cholas spread Hinduism to all of Southeast Asia, Cambodia to Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, all of this. It wasn't simply by trade as we say it, right? It was actually by proselytizing. Our means of proselytizing and spreading our views are different. We are not aggressive. It's not by the sword. It's mixed with values, culture, business, money, all of this, right? It's a soft power. But this whole thing of that, no, we don't convert, this thing has to drop, and that is the specific mission I'm on.
Thank you so much, Rahul. And we have a few questions from our viewers. Just give me a minute. I need to sort these things out. And while
Sure.
you're answering questions, you might see me being busy. Please don't mind, because I don't have my
Yeah.
help editor. He's away for a wedding. So I will be just in the background lining up the question while you are answering the question. So I hope
Okay.
that works. Here we go.
Sure.
The first question from Magnet Ranga, what he wants to know is, Jai Sri Ram, looking forward to Kashi and Mathura too being solved in our favor. How soon do you expect it to happen?
2 years is what Vishnuji is saying, Vishnu Shankar Jain. So we'll wait for 2 years, no problems, and just so that you know, and you have audience, and I must say this. I got so emotional after he was explaining the ASI report. I was crying, and then I wrote to my team of editors at Sangam Talks that I've been trying to reach out to a lot of Vedika and Tantric people who are practitioners, that could we do homams for betterment of the country, for some specific people. So I was trying to reach them recently about Vishnu Shankar Jain and his father Hari Shankar Jain ji, that could you do this. So they were saying, well, we'll need them, their approval and date of birth and so on, so all of that. So I thought, okay, let us do something simple. And I'm saying this not for giving myself a pat on the back or whatever, or publicity, but I'm saying this hopefully it'll inspire other people. 5 of us got together and did a Mahamrityunjay today morning at 7 a.m. for Vishnuji and his father Hari Shankarji, for their protection, for their well-being, and all of that. So, I mean, we all have to be in deep, deep, deep gratitude for these two people.
Thank you so much. And viewers, we always tell you, I've been forgetting to tell you, you have to have a hashtag ask. Even if you don't put Rahul at the end, usually a first name of the guest, because it's easy for me to search through there is, Rahul, you won't believe it, hundreds of comments. Now, I'm just trying to sift through that to get some questions so that I can ask you, good questions, because I can't just arbitrarily take something. I have to make sure that it is pertinent to our topic and so on. So viewers, always have the hashtag in handy, makes our job much easier. If I had help, I wouldn't be so troubled, but today I'm handicapped a bit. Thank you, Dr. V. Garg. Sanatan is on the way to annihilation. Sadhuwad to Rahul Dewanji for taking up the most important project. I have a million queries, but impossible to ask them all here. How to get in touch with you?
I mean, just write to us on Sangam Talks, and your email or something will be forwarded to us. It's sangamtalks@sariyutrust.org. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Next one. Dr. Garg again, thank you. I got to interact with the top RSS functionary the day before yesterday. The moment I broached the subject, he got a reply not very different from the left. The profound naivete is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't like to criticize the RSS. And they're doing wonderful job. All of this Ram Temple movement, we're seeing the Ram Temple because of the Sangha. But yes, I completely, I'm sorry to say, I don't think we Hindu Samaj as a group get any clarity from where they want us to go. This whole thing about that we must not have supremacist ideas, we must drop supremacist ideas, that we have the same DNA, all of the UCC, all of these are not going to work with Islam.
Next question. JBJP, thank you so much. Devanji, you are Punjabi Hindu. You lost 205,000 square kilometers of Punjab in 1947 partition. Punjabi Hindu can't be CM Punjab. You don't have political power to implement.
Okay, I can't do anything about it. Let's do something what we can do about. So, Ghar Wapsi.
JBJPG, you have to understand the reason Pakistan is in such a mess today is because when they drove out the Hindus, they drove out the entire administrative infrastructure of what is Pakistan today.
No,
And
sorry to interrupt you. Very interesting. I just about 15 days or 20 days back, I went back to interview uh, Praful Goradia ji. Praful Goradia ji is an old, Sangh associate. He knew Vajpayee ji very well. He knows Modi ji. Like when he was nobody, he was very close. He told me something really interesting about Jinnah. He says that Jinnah ne Pakistan to mang liya. He writes in his notes, his brother and Praful ji used to sit together. They were all family friends. Jinnah was from a Brahmin family. He's a Brahmin convert from Kutch, and not too far away, just 2-3 generations back.
right,
It
right,
happened
right.
because of our he was thrown out. His grandfather was thrown out of the community because
Because he
of
was selling
getting into
fish.
fish. Yeah. So uh, so he says that they would all meet for drinks, Jinnah's brother, younger brother. And on one occasion, his brother tells me that Jinnah is so scared that we are the population exchange is sort of happening and Hindus are leaving. He tells his brother, I have no hope for Pakistan. These Muslims don't know how to do business. So this country is going to collapse. Is what so
There's one of these conspiracy theories being floated about that Jinnah had invited Gandhi to come to Pakistan because he had realized, "Ye maine kya kar diya?" This was in early 1948, and they were going to explore a way of coming back together as a country, and that there were other vested interests who wanted to continue down this path, and hence the unfortunate assassination. Again, this is a conspiracy theory. I don't want to go beyond that. We don't have any proof for this. Guru 40 wants to know now what jati they belong to. This is a weird question in the modern era. What jati are we talking about? If you think it is necessary, just pick a new jati for yourself.
Yeah. So I know this question. I don't have an absolutely clear answer. I'm actually, see, this is a journey for me as well. So I'm actually going, as in the next few months, I'm going to be talking more and more about this, meeting a lot more people. And so I will have better answers. But the answers I have at this point in time is Arya Samaj gives you a surname called Arya. You convert and you become a Rahul Arya. That's very simple. I don't know what jati it is, but they basically say you are Arya. That's very simple. Why can't we just start doing that? The other part is the video I showed earlier. There are people, and the example I gave of Dinesh Chauhan, he knew 7 generations. They knew I am a Chauhan. There are right now hundreds of lakhs of Muslims in the country who retain their surnames. Look at Kashmir. Everybody is a
Yes.
call and all of this. They carry their surnames. They know what their lineage is. They will simply have to come back. The Hindus on the other side have to accept them. And of course, they must have courage and all of the other things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Next question. Chandrasekhar Khandekar wants to know facility of Ghar Wapsi is in Mumbai, Masur Ashram since the last 80 years.
Wonderful. Please talk about it. We must have Google ads. We must have a helpline number with, not only inside an ashram, but it must be advertised. We should run Google ads just like Muslim organizations run. You go and say, and they will have helpline numbers, they will have websites. Write to us with an email with your questions, and we'll help you convert. All exactly how they work, we need to work. Yeah.
Next question from Arvind TSY. Hi Rahul, do you have any point of view on how many people in India have converted to Christianity but have retained their SC, ST, OBC identity in order to remain beneficiaries of the government schemes?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a statistician or working in this area. The only project we are doing right now is with Dr. JK Bajaj and Dr. MD Srinivas, who run Center for Policy Studies, and we are doing some study of a few states of people who have cleared their PCS and IAS services, and are Christians, and still retain their SC/ST status and all of that. But this is just very preliminary work that we are trying to do with in partnership. But I mean, no, I don't have answers. I'm not an expert.
This has been abused way beyond your imagination, guys. In Supreme Court, there was a female judge who retired. For all practical purposes, till the last day when she revealed her religion, she was R. Bhanumati. R stands for Ruth, R-U-T-H. She had converted way back when she was younger, but she was Dalit. See, this is the thing. She rose because she was Dalit, and she went all the way up to Supreme Court justice. She was so kind enough to give Chidambaram a bail. When Chidambaram was knocking on the doors of Delhi High Court and he wasn't getting bail, he goes to Supreme Court. And guess where she is from? The same state as Mr. Chidambaram. Yes, she got appointed on merit, right? No. She was a member of SC. She used that. But the thing that I don't like is that she hid her conversion information, because the moment you reveal that you have converted to Christianity, you lose all your SC benefits. This is a loophole that people are exploiting. In fact, now, ulta chor kotwal ko dante, they are saying even if we convert, we want to enjoy the benefits that we used to enjoy before. That bill is also being looked at. I mean, this has gone too far. There is a systemic change that needs to happen. Also, I have to mention one other thing, Rahul. I mean, I grew up in Hyderabad, and in Hyderabad, you have these bastis. Suddenly, you will see a basti of Muslims. Around everybody will be Hindu, okay? And we had a friend. We were trying to look for this friend, and all we knew, I mean, we had lost touch, but we knew that they used to call themselves Muslim Brahmins. So we went to the basti and we did inquiries, and they correctly pointed us to there was only one family like that. They are actually Brahmins who got converted, but they have maintained their habit. They are still priestly. I don't know, they don't eat meat, but they had this thing. I don't know if you've seen this thing, Rahul. When people have incurable jaundice, that is, there is a strain that gets very difficult to cure. No matter what kind of medication you take, it doesn't go away. Your liver is in trouble. So they take you and you go to this house. This person has some special powers. Okay, they'll have a cup of water and they'll have a sui, needle, and they chant some mantras, and slowly you will see the yellowness from your skin transfer into the water, and the water will become yellow. I've seen this with my eyes, so I can't even say that this is first, second, and third. That is a power that family had. You have to go out early in the morning, and they'll do it for about 15-20 minutes. It takes place over a few days, and then the jaundice goes away. So what I'm trying to say is, this thing, Sanatanita, is, it's all in there. It's completely intertwined inside. And I'm hoping that, some of these things start coming out to light, and that people will, realize that we are all, after all, Sanatanis. We are following the same dharma, maybe a different religion. See how we can ramp back in. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let me go to the last question today. Jay BJP, thank you so much, and I love and salute for being a brave Punjabi Hindu. Rahul, this is for you.
Thank you. It's taken me years to start coming out and just allowing all of this to mull inside me. And the hope is that more and more people come out and actually start talking about this, and we don't make a few people the target of the opposite side.
Yes, indeed. And can you believe it? We have been talking for 55 minutes, and I didn't know where the time just flew. Viewers, this is a request to all of you. Many may have questions about this. Feel free to share it. And his video on Sangam Talks is close to 1 million views. And I've seen that video, and I'll put that thing in the description section so that you can take a look at that. Rahul is a very celebrated person, and this takes a lot of guts, trying to take on what he's trying to do. After all, he has made his millions. He could just be, another guy vacationing in a nice island and so on and so forth. But he has taken it upon himself. Retirement life, exactly. So some of us are dabang that way. But anyway, that's a good dabang. Okay. Thank you so much, Rahul. I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be calling you back for more such, intellectually stimulating conversations. Once again, thank
Sure.
you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting me.